You're listening to the Talk Box with Sign. You're listening to the Talk Box. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you're listening to the Talk Box with Sign. You're listening to the Talk Box. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Talk about it.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Talk Box. I'm your girl, Sonia G, and we have a special guest here in the building. It is I call him Mr. Understood. He is the CEO and founder of Understood Podcast, and I just love him. He's one of my sons that I took up under my wing. So, we're glad to have him in the building today. Hey, Marcelas, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Sonia. I'm doing great. Fine on this Sunday. Just had a very, very, very good week. Very interesting week. Very.
Good. So what are some of the good things that's going on with your podcast? I'm very excited about your podcast. And not just because my husband is on there with you, but I'm excited for the concept.
Well, the podcast, I had a little bumpy road because I was trying to find the right pieces where I can put in line and I can trust, somebody that I know that what they bring to the podcast, it's not just simply what they are able to do as far as picture, video, whatever, because I want whoever associated with Understood to have a presence and a voice on Understood, because Understood is for everybody. Mm-hmm.
So why did you start the podcast Understood? Why is there an Understood?
Well, because when you think about what everybody do every day, mm-hmm. and you think about what they go out to do every day, people go out to seek things to be understood. Mm-hmm. When you seek wisdom, faith, knowledge, understanding, when you seek all of that, you seek that to be understood about your purpose, on why I got up today. Right. I got up today to go work. Okay, when I go work, people see and they understand that I am a hardworking man. It is then when they understand, I am understood. My purpose is solidified through other people understanding of me, mm-hmm. to where they now see that I enjoy being understood. Okay. So that's what it pretty much represents that, because, when you do things in anything you do, you sit down, you write, you talk, you interact, you intervene, you social, conflict, it don't matter what you do. Mm-hmm. Understood is the purpose of it. Because when you leave your mark on something, it is then you are, that's the reason. It's understood.
Right. And even the word says, out of all you're get some understanding.
Get some understanding.
Yeah, you gotta get some understanding.
Gotta dig a little digger. So
would you say, like, growing up or wherever you've been in your lifetime, that you felt misunderstood? So that's why you push the purpose now, or part of your purpose is to help people find an understanding for their life?
I didn't see, understood, you can't misunderstood. You can misunderstand,
right?
But you can't misunderstood, because when you sit down, take it all in, no matter what you do, it's understood. You can't misunderstood nothing, because when you go back in your house and you take the day in and you think about what was done, you think about what you didn't give somebody, even if you don't give somebody the proper understanding, you still understood because you didn't do it. So you can never be misunderstood. Somebody can have misunderstanding, but you can never be misunderstood. Understood is the conclusion to everything.
Okay, tell me again what your synonyms is for. The under, then the stood is the S.
The acronym to understood is understood. STOOD means salvation that others often deny, which is why I am understood, because I am under salvation that others often deny.
All right.
You see, so like I say, the goal, and it's going to always be a goal, because understood would allow everybody. The walk of life don't matter. The color don't matter. Who you is or what you believe, what you think, it don't matter.
But I got to push back for a minute, because I believe that we all have a purpose on the earth, but a lot of people is not walking in their purpose, and so therefore they're really misunderstanding who they are and who they were created for. So until you know who you are and your purpose, and that starts with the changing of the mind, then there is some misunderstanding there.
That's misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But that's not misunderstood.
Okay.
Because you can't misunderstood. You can't even misunderstood yourself. You can't misunderstood nobody else, because at the end of the day, if I fail to meet the criteria standards, what it takes for you to understand, you understood that I did not do what it takes to meet the criteria for you to understand. But you understood. I understood. I just, he lacked the potential strength or whatever it takes to fulfill something. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So understood applies to every spectrum around the board. It don't matter how you dip, dab it, look at it, touch it, or get involved in it. It's understood. Somebody let you down, that's understood. It's not understanding, because you understand the process. Right. But the conclusion of it, that it's process is understood.
Oh, okay, I get it. A little play on words. I got it.
So you dig a little, you dig a little dig on. You know what I'm saying? It just goes with it, because one thing about being of God, you have to be of His creative essence.
Right. He's
a creator, so He could take a piece of glass, a piece of dirt, a piece of water, a piece of a leaf, these different elements, and He could put it together and it'll become something that you need to live. But you be like grass, dirt, leaf, air, water. He put all that together to present something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to presenting something that a person needs, so you can be understood, you have to be able to put together something.
And put those pieces together.
You see what I'm saying?
But what the problem is with a lot of people, though, Marcelas, is people don't know how to put their pieces together. People come to me all the time. I mentor people. I speak with people on a constant. And one of the things, even one thing that a lot of people say to me, I'm like, well, what's your purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what it is. And you can't fix what you can't identify. So if I don't know what my purpose is, I cannot fulfill that purpose, and therefore I have no understanding. I can't get to that place. So sometimes it takes I believe that our Creator, that's why He sends us so many different people in our lives, and we have different assignments for other people when we finally get understood, or when we get understanding. Because you might look at something one way, as you and I often debate, and I'll tell you another way to look at it. But when we don't have an understanding, or when we are too, I don't know, a lot of times it's rebellion, it's something we can't get to the place that we're supposed to have. Like here on the Talk Box, it's all about abundant living with me. And I believe that we all have the authority and the right for abundant living, but everybody ain't living up to it. Why? Because they have no understanding of their of what they were created for.
But just remember this here, because if I lack understanding, I have no right to say you are misunderstood. If I lack understanding of your approach, if I lack understanding of your expression, if I lack understanding of your offering, if I lack understanding of you, it's not your fault because I lack the understanding. It's not your fault because I have not understood you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. However, it's my fault that I don't understand, but it will be solely on you to provide me with the necessary knowledge so you can be properly understood. Because when you do something, a person may say, okay, she jumping on the roof. She jumping on the roof. Why is she doing it? I lack the understanding. But then when you inform me why you jumping on the roof, oh, your purpose is understood.
Right.
Because I lack the understanding don't mean you are misunderstood. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you jump on the roof and be like, well, I'm jumping on the roof because it's a village for the people that don't have food and there's food up here and I'm bringing it to them. Oh.
That makes more sense. But what I'm saying to you, Marcelas, is a lot of people this day and time, they jumping on the roof and you ask them, what are you doing jumping on the roof? I don't know. That's where the problem is.
Okay, so somebody seeking knowledge to ask to why you jumping on the roof, and this person who lack the creativity to explain the reasons of why they jumping on the roof is causing others to misunderstand.
Okay.
So if you misunderstand, then basically you setting a void.
But again, I think that we may be saying the same thing in a different manner, or we may be on a different plane. I'm saying that the person jumping on the roof that says, I don't know why I'm jumping on the roof, they can never achieve understanding or be understood themselves because they don't know. You can't fix what you don't face, what you can't identify. That's like going to the darn doctor with a broke leg and he say, what you here for? And you say, my arm hurt. So he puts a bandage on your arm. I believe in this day and time, people need to know who they are and what they was created for so that they can be understood. Because if I don't know, I can't fix it. I deal with people who have sex addictions, crack addiction, drug addictions, this, that, and the other. Until we dig down and say, talk to them about what have transpired to keep you in that cycle, you can't break the cycle. So before I can understand you, or before you can be understood, we need to get to the root of the problem. We need to know why you jumping on the roof. If you taking it from a drug addict standpoint, if I didn't, this is me personally, my own personal experience. If I hadn't have sat down, I give my book credit for my therapy. If I hadn't have sat down and thought about my life as a child and how I was molested and how I went through all of the different emotional traumatic experiences while feeling something that felt good to my body. See, that's how I was stuck in guilt and shame because I knew it was wrong. It was a family member. And then I knew that it felt good at the same time. And so the enemy, and some people call it the universe, kept me confused in that area. And then I began to medicate myself. And so until I dealt with that, when I wrote my book and finally put it on pen and paper, that yeah, I was molested, but guess what? That part of my life wasn't my problem. It wasn't nothing wrong with me. It was something wrong with him.
Okay, so
because wait a minute, let me say, because when he was touching my body and my body responded, my body was created to respond when a man touched me.
Okay, so your body responded to what it understood. That
right.
A man,
right.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, the understood facet, entity, mm-hmm. or energy is going to be fulfilled, even though, okay, we understand what he did was wrong.
Right.
But the process is understood. The understood is mutual and neutral. It say no right, no wrong. Understood does not fall in the category of what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down. Understood is nothing but the lid put on top of the pot.
I get it.
That's it. You see what I'm saying?
But I'm also saying this. I wasn't understood until I went through the process of having to delve through all of that. And what I think a lot of people is missing this day and time is that they don't take out the time to go through and see why am I this broken adult? Oh, I'm a broken adult because I never understood the things that I was going through when I was a child. So my childhood trauma is causing me deficiencies in my adult life. So
and that's understood.
Right. But you have to figure that first part out first before you can get up to be understood.
Right.
Is
so
what I'm saying.
The first part
that makes sense.
I'm saying that, the first part that must be understood is understanding.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
So it's all a process, right?
Right. So but when you get through that process, the conclusion of it.
So do you think, and I hope this ain't out in left field, but do you think that you had some understanding to the choices that you made that caused you to go lay down for 20 years?
Of course. Once again,
Did you have it then though?
What, in prison? Or
no,
before
prison? You even went to prison.
I knew, I understood that if I kept going, doing what I was doing what I was doing, I'm going to end up going to prison. But becoming the man that I became in prison, that was no longer, I'm not going to say that was nowhere near the understanding that I had. See, because I'm going to tell you something. We tend to look forward. A lot of people say don't look back.
I disagree.
But I ask people, well, you solidify what's ahead of you with what's behind you.
That's right.
What's behind you is understood. Mm-hmm. But what's understood will teach you about what's ahead of you.
What's ahead of you.
So why run from something that's basically built your steps? Mm-hmm. Put everything together.
Right.
Your understanding today is why yesterday is understood.
Right. Now I'm with you right there.
You see what I'm saying? You always with me. You better be with me.
I'm with you right there. I ain't gotta be with you all the time. I will still dot your I just because you bigger than me.
I'm just,
Okay. But I think when I talk to other people who I'm telling them, because I've seen it before and some things I've done before, I'm telling them, hey, look, you have some things going on.
I want to tell you.
Tell me.
I want to tell you this here. Mm-hmm. When a person look at you, Sonia.
Yeah.
They see what you told them. They see what you have established. Mm-hmm. You know why you know why it bothers them to see you do what you do, hear what you say, and give the way you give without a conscience? Because to look at you is actually looking at their past. It's beautiful, it's strong, it's built, and it will build. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to turn to Sonia or they past. Sonia and their past is one. The skin color means nothing, because when your past wish to be ever present in your present and future, it'll come to you in the manner of something that you was, but an extreme, strong version of it.
Yeah.
So when they see you, they listen, but they don't hear you, because I can cover my ears and still listen to you. Mm-hmm. That don't mean I hear you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's so many ways to listen to you. I can cover my ears and read your lips. I'm listening to you. I'm reading what I'm listening, what you are saying. But to hear what you're saying is different. Right. So when a person see you, see what you've been through, knowing what you've been through, and they be like, that's no way. Drug addict, been this, did that, did this, did that, did this. I did all of that. Why I don't have it? Because her past consumed her. Her past didn't let her go.
Right.
She was allowing her past to consume her. And when it consumed her, she took the things from her past and built herself with it. Because I'm going to tell you something. This is a fact. This is a fact. Your future is empty. Your present is the top. Your past is the jar that's filled with stuff. Right. It's nothing in your future. Everything
build it.
You got to. It's open land. Right. Your future is so open without barriers of conscience. Your future is the unconscious area of your life. You go and you go and make your future conscious. When you say conscious, you give it a presence because you build things in the future so people can see.
Yeah.
You build the line so when the person see you, they hear what you're saying and things like that, but they fear you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. On one side, they fear me because they're not fearing me. They're fearing their inner self.
That's it.
They're fearing their inner self. And the other thing is pride. Pride will kill you. So instead of you
What's
coming
the
to
acronym
me,
of pride? What's the acronym of pride? PRIDE. Please remember, I destroy everything.
Oh wow, I like that.
That's the acronym of pride. Please remember, I destroy everything.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. But and so your pride will keep you from going. That's one thing that I don't possess. If I see a business that I want to go into, I'm gonna go and talk. Oh, you got this business? I wanted to do that business. But our pride will keep us. I know that pride comes before destruction. And so our pride will keep us bogged down, and you will allow, when we're wrapped up in pride and rebellion, then you're allowing your past to dictate your future. I just had this conversation with my son on yesterday because my son oohs and ahs about my life. My son, I lost him then. He's 36 years old now. And he ooh and ah like, Mom, most people don't recover. Most people this, that, and the other. But I believe that everybody can. I don't think I'm special. I think that I just was willing to put the work in. I was just willing not to allow my past to dictate my future. You did 20 years in prison. And you've done more in less than a year than some people who've been walking around the whole 20 years that you were gone. It's about the choices that you make. Bad choices, bad consequences. Better choices, better consequences. We all have the ability to have an abundant life. And I believe that because I live in abundance. Somebody who was a crackhead, a thief, a liar, and a whole bunch of other stuff that ain't got no statute of limitations that I don't want to say. So I just try my best to give what I've been given. I believe we're blessed to be a blessing. So now, if somebody come along and I tell you what's right and you do something different, then when you do something different, you get them consequences. After them consequences whip you upside the head, Marcelas, in action. Then I'm going to whoop you upside the head because I done told you something different.
And that's understood.
Okay, that's understood. Y'all heard it on the talk box.
So I'm just telling you, people nowadays, even the ones in our age bracket, my age bracket, they just feel like, man, to get to the next day, I got to subject myself to what's going on. But I'm going to tell you this here. I am a fan of Marvel. People call me Thanos. The people that knows me, they call me Thanos. And they ask me, why you call yourself Thanos? Mm-hmm. I say, if you understand what Thanos means, then you will understood. They say, well, what is Thanos? What that name mean? I say, it's an acronym. THANOS. Mm-hmm. They were like, well, what it means? Truth has always nurtured our survival. That's why I live to that.
Right,
because
right.
I survive because truth has nurtured my survival. Mm-hmm. Truth has always nurtured our survival. The truth shall set you. The truth shall make you. The truth shall free you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So truth has always nurtured our survival. Nurture is what you bring, raise, and you understand.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a topic that I love talking about. Truth and transparency.
Okay, now stop. So when you step before people with the truth that has nurtured your survival.
Right.
When you step to people with that Thanos, they see that and they understand the transparency of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But themselves is what they don't want to be understood. So they hide in understanding.
And they stay stuck.
Because
I tell people all the time, you can ask my husband about this, my husband and them children. I would rather you tell me the ugly truth than a pretty lie. Because when we hide behind an untruth, we can't get to the place that we was actually created for. Because the truth will make you free. And that's why I like telling on myself. I'll tell on myself because you won't get the opportunity to tell on me. I tell on my own self because that's what keeps me free. I learned that when I was in drug rehab, probably the third or fourth time that I went to drug rehab, when I was back smoking. I learned that once I started telling the truth, I remember when I used to say, I ain't no crackhead, and I was smoking $1,000 worth of dope a day. I started believing the lie. This day and time, too many people believe their own lie.
Okay, so tell me, what's a crackhead?
Huh?
What is a crackhead?
The crackhead, the terminology that you...
Oh, that what they said. Okay,
that's what they said.
Okay.
But I was that.
Okay, no, you wasn't.
Oh yeah, I was at the time. Yes, I was. Well, I'll tell you what worked for me.
I'm not an ex-felon. I'm not a convicted felon. I'm none of that. I know what God allowed me to go through to be a servant for Him. That's what I acknowledge myself as. I don't tie myself to the traditional stigmas of man. What man say, what I gotta acknowledge. What I've been in prison. Yeah, you're an ex-felon. No, I'm a man of God. That's what I am.
Okay.
So you a crackhead and none of that. I'm saying me as a man, not a black man. I am a man. I'm nothing that men have said. You who are up under the government and societies of this country, subject yourself to these stigmas to be acknowledged. No. I can tell you what I've been through, but what I've been through is not me. I jump in the water and swim. I've been through the oceans. Am I a fish? No.
I like that. That is so true.
I'm just telling you, what you acknowledge, what you've been through, don't acknowledge yourself as that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I used for me to get better. What I used for me to get better was until I said that I have a problem, I couldn't fix it. So for years, I believed the lie that I wasn't a crackhead when in actuality, I was at the time. And so I couldn't become not a crackhead until I acknowledged the state that I was in. And so I had to finally tell myself, you know what? I can't stop using. I do have a problem. Because again, you can't fix what you don't identify.
I beg to differ.
I don't.
You don't.
I've been doing this a long time, and I'm older than you.
Okay, I know. That's. But I.
No, because this is what I mean. If you can't at least be honest with yourself, even if you don't want to tell anybody else, you got to be honest with you, the one that you look at in the mirror. I got a problem that need fixing. Because if you keep telling yourself, now there is a process to it. Because I do remember that I went months saying, I don't smoke crack. But I had to first identify the problem. Then I had to speak life into me by speaking contrary to what I was doing, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So once I identified the problem, you can't fix what you don't identify. You gotta identify it first. And then you can start speaking the word over it to change it. But I had to first admit that I was, so that I could become a not.
That's paramount. That's paramount. That's important. But I still would like for you to understand that You know, for you to be understood within yourself, you got to remove yourself from the traditional stigmas and definition of what man says for people. Because I'm gonna tell you something, they just gonna throw a definition out there for those who don't understand. It's more who don't. This is more who don't understand in society. So when the more who don't understand in society take these stigmas and definition of a word or a term, and people see them holding on to it, then it is us who understand and are understood. We'll say, okay, that's a reality. But in reality, it's not. It's not. So what you have to do as the woman that you are, the woman that God allowed to go in that belly of the well, the woman that God allowed to be thrown in that water well and forsaken by your family, the woman who went to prison and prophesied in prison, you know, the woman who got kicked out the belly of the well, you know, the woman who went to Egypt and from the prison had to work herself out to the highest of the kingdom that God got her in. You know, the woman that was kicked out of the Garden of Eden, but she managed to resurrect who she is by getting in tune to who that woman there that you must always maintain to be. Don't associate that woman to what man says she must be in order to be understood. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Man don't tell you about God.
That's right.
Just remember this.
I remember that.
I'm gonna tell you this before we conclude. I asked this nice looking woman. I say, man, tell me what you look like. Tell me what you look like. She on the phone. She said, well, you know, I got a small waist, thick thighs, big butt, you know, wide hips, you know, pretty face. I said, man, you been around too many dudes, man. I said, you talking like a dude. She said, I ain't no transgender. I say, see, I ain't talking about that. You talking like a dude because the man tell you what he look like physically. A woman tell you what God's look like.
Yeah.
A woman don't tell you what she look like physically because a woman is never a physical thing. However, me as a man, I got to figure out the rest and realize that's God, number one connection.
Yeah.
Without Mary, where is Jesus? Without the mother of Lazarus who betrayed Jesus, Lazarus was part of the plan to betray him, to get him sacrificed so we can have a salvation. Without his mother, who is Lazarus. Without so many people who are the people that build this ladder to our sacrifice, our salvation. Yeah. So you as a woman, just understand and realize something. You never is physical. Man has physical definitions.
That's true.
Women has godly definitions. They have the Holy Spirit definition. That's why it is a woman who can dictate and run society like nothing. If one woman sit out there in the streets and scream and 10 men hear it, he'll run to it. But if one man sit out there in the streets and scream, 10 men look at him and be like, okay, he'll be all right. That's a fact. It's not bad. It's a fact.
Yeah,
so what I'm telling you in so many words, you as a woman, don't subject yourself to what Webster said in the dictionary.
Right.
Don't subject yourself to the terms and ideologies of man in stigma terms with tradition about society, about women. Subject yourself to the man who got his understanding of a woman from a woman and see if that coincides with your woman.
Yeah.
The best dictionary is the woman. The worst dictionary is what man could say because he proved nothing on his own. He need the woman.
That's true. That's true. Well, is there anything else you would like to conclude with today, or was that your conclusion?
Well, that was my conclusion. You know, that's my conclusion. I just would like for you guys to tune in to my podcast. I just uploaded my first episode to it on Friday evening. It's about my transition from society to prison, from prison to free world. You know, I'm from Miami, Florida. You know, I'm up here in Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You know, I'm living my best life. And my best life was given to me by God. My best life was given to me by God, who gave people to me to help define and represent the best life that we live in. You know, so, you know, just tune in to my podcast at www.understoodpodcast.com. You know, set up your profile, set up, you know, your subscription. You can check out all the latest blogs. I promise you, everything that's on that podcast will represent you getting out that bed and doing something that bed don't want you to do. Because I'm going to tell you something. The bed is the door to your nightmares. Your feet is the door to your dreams. So you either going to stand on your dream and pursue them, or lay down in that bed and be consumed by nightmares. But when you come to understood, you will be understood.
All right, all right. You guys, I just want to thank you for coming on again here on the Talk Box. I'm your girl, Sonya G, and our special guest, Marcelas Harris. Like he said, make sure that you go and check out his website, understoodpodcast.com. Make sure you subscribe to the Understood Podcast, and I know y'all already subscribed to the Talk Box. If you not, you gonna miss it. Cause starting next week, we're gonna be giving away some money on the Talk Box. Somebody type money, money, money. So again, you guys, make sure that you're liking the podcast episodes. Make sure you're tuning in as well for the lives, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8:30, to help us on this journey to abundant living. You have a right and the authority to live an abundant life. So stop walking around looking for somewhere to lay down and lay dead. Get on up and do something. Live the abundant life you have the right to live. It's your girl Sonya G here on the Talk Box. We'll holler at you next time. Bye.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, listening to the Talk Box.